Welcome to Friends and Fiction. 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories. Novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristin Harmel, Kristy Woodson Harvey, and Patti Callahan Henry are 4 longtime friends with more than 70 published books between them. Together, they host Friends and Fiction, with author interviews and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing, to highlight and support independent bookstores. They discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friends and Fiction Show. I'm Ron Block.
I'm Patti Callahan Henry.
And this is Friends and Fiction, 4 New York Times bestselling authors, endless stories to support indie bookstores, authors, and librarians.
And if you're not already with us, we hope you'll join our Facebook group, which now, 5 years later, is more than 300,000 members strong.
Isn't that crazy? I love it.
When I say strong, I'm talking your to-be-read pile will tip right on over. So we'd also like you to follow us on Instagram and on YouTube, and to subscribe to our Substack newsletter, which is full of awesome bonus content that we will talk about later. You can find out more about our community and all we have to offer at friendsandfiction.com.
Yes. Okay. On this episode, we are beyond excited to welcome author Catherine Newman to discuss her new novel, Wreck, which is set to be released on October 28th. First, we want to give you a little background of Catherine. She's the New York Times bestselling author of the memoirs Catastrophic Happiness, let's say that twice fast, and Waiting for Birdie, the middle grade novel One Mixed Up Night, and the kids' craft book Stitch Camp, co-authored with Nicole Blum. The best-selling how-to books for kids, How to Be a Person, and What Can I Say? And the novels We All Want Impossible Things in Sandwich, which was a huge New York Times best-selling instant hit and received universal acclaim and praise.
And one of my favorite things, aside from her books, which I adore, she writes this Substack newsletter called Crone Sandwich. And she has been a regular, I love this newsletter. I read everything she writes in there. She has been a regular contributor to the New York Times, Real Simple, which is, of course, the Oprah magazine, Cup of Joe, and many other publications. Catherine lives in Amherst, Massachusetts, and she is back with a wonderful new novel, Wreck, which we mentioned is out on October 28th. We'll probably say it again, too. And it is full of laughter and heart. It's about marriage and family and, dare I say, middle life, and what happens when life just, doesn't go as planned.
That's right. That's right. I'm very excited for this. Sean, can you bring Catherine on?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, you guys. What a lovely introduction.
Thank you. So great to have you here. Welcome to Friends and Fiction.
Thank you. I'm delighted.
Okay. Before we dive into the book, I want to talk about you. As a reader and writer, I love knowing that your reader, I would love to know about your reader origin story. What books or authors were powerful to you as a child, and what made you a reader?
It's so funny. I was such a reader kid. I'm sure most of your interviewees were. And every time I get asked that question, I think I answer it slightly differently. But I learned to read and write in the same month of first grade. And and it was, the zeal of the convert. I went from not being able to do either to being an evangelical reader and writer. I was obsessed with it, and I read all the books in my first grade class, and then, got the keys to the castle in the library. So those were fundamental experiences. But I think the golden age of reading for me was Joan Aiken books. I don't know if you read those, but The Wolves of Willoughby Chase or Black Hearts of Battersea, those books give me a British orphan in a big house. And that's all I needed.
Okay, I have chills. Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry.
Remember that feeling? That was the age of reading where like someone at the table had to be like, hey, hun, we're having dinner, put your book down. And I'd be like,
No.
no.
I wasn't allowed to read at home. That was the weird thing.
Oh, wow.
At home at all?
Only schoolwork. Only schoolwork. It was very. My house didn't have books. Didn't have anything. It was. I had to go to the neighbor's house and read while I was there.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Is really hard to understand.
That's heartbreaking.
I know.
Yeah.
But that made me love it all the more when I got to school. And like you, I jumped right in first grade. I was one of the few people that got put in a corner so we could read.
Oh, and then you had the zeal of the convert plus the illicitness of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So my granddaughter is in first grade and she's learning. It's kind of held off. And all of a sudden, Catherine, you made me think of it. Today's her 7th birthday. And she's like reading and writing at the same time. And you can almost see her brain lighting up. Like it's going crazy in there. And my daughter sent her to the Scholastic Book Fair with cash money to buy some books. And she came home instead with a journal and a pen because she was like, I am writing down my life. And
oh my God, a memoir. Her 7-year-old memoirs.
And her first entry was, I had a good day at school.
Oh my God, bless
So
her.
same thing, like when it converges like that, and I'm sure it helped make you a writer because they happened at the same time.
I know. And it was like I think a little technically delayed as a reader. Like I think most of my peers had learned to read in kindergarten and I was so frustrated and I just, I looked at the letters and willed them to turn into something. And then my gosh,
They did
the best. Yeah.
It gives me chills. Okay. I want to talk about Rec.
Okay.
So in Rec, we reunite with Rocky and her family, who we all fell in love with in the book Sandwich. This is now 2 years later, and Rocky finds herself obsessed with a local accident that only tangentially affects them as we learn more, and with a medical condition that she hopes won't affect them. So this is the plot, but in true Friends and Fiction fashion, we love to ask this. If that's what the book is about, what do you think it's really about?
That's a great question because obviously that plot, even when you say it, and that's an excellent description of it, I'm like, oh my God, this book has so little plot. Like the plot is very small. It's like an illness she does or doesn't have and an accident that does or doesn't have anything to do with her. Like those are the plot elements. And so that is the $1 million question for me. Like, what is this a book about? And I think what it's a book about, I think it's about a couple of things, but I would say if I had to pick one word, I think it's a book about uncertainty.
Oh, yes.
And
Perfect.
Fact that I think, honestly, for me, I hit 50 years old. This was now 7 years ago. And I realized that I was going to have to just learn to live with a ton of uncertainty in my life. And I am not a person that does not come naturally to me. I like things to be clear. I'm very orderly. I like to pass judgment, know if something's good or bad. I like to know exactly what's happening all the time. And that is no longer possible in my life in any way. I don't really know what's happening. I don't know what it means. I don't know how it's going to end. And I am really learning to live with that. And so Rocky, my character, is also learning to live with that. And that's what I think the book is.
And unknowing too, right? Like uncertainty and then not knowing. Like it's like this push and pull, the whole book. Like, how do we manage that and still cook the Thanksgiving turkey, still hang out with the family, still get a dad a coffee, right?
Yeah.
When it's all up in the air.
Yes, that, right. And just to, hold everything in open hands rather than trying to hold too tight. It is, yeah, right. I know it's very zen to say, but yeah. And then weirdly, somebody wrote me, a stranger wrote me, she'd read an advanced copy of it, wrote me and said, "Oh, what a beautiful book about grief." So there's also the possibility that it's a book about grief, which is very interesting to me. I wouldn't have described it that way. But when she said it, I thought, oh, yeah, that's true. Rocky's mom, this is not a spoiler because it's just a fact from the beginning of the book, but Rocky's mom is recently, has died fairly recently. And there are times in the book where that really makes a huge impact on Rocky.
Yeah, I totally got that too. And I saw the scenes that come up, and I could just feel them going through it too, and how you kind of don't know how to live your life. And then these moments come up that make you kind of go, oh, and it brings out the grief.
Hit you sideways. Yeah.
Yeah. Hit you sideways. Totally.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Refract. I know those feelings. And that is, I mean, as everyone who has lost someone dear knows, there's nothing like trouble in the present to re-invoke the longing for somebody you're missing.
Yes.
Yes, I lost my mom almost a year ago, and so the whole book resonated. Thank you. We're getting through it. We're going through it.
Yep.
It really, reading stuff like this really helps, believe it or not. So
no, I know. I feel the same.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we loved being on vacation with the family in Sandwich, and we connected really deeply to the relatable view of the world that we see through Rocky's eyes. What brought you to the decision to return with a new chapter of their lives? Was the second installment always in the works?
Definitely no. I need to come up with a better elevator pitch answer to this question because it's a question I'm going to be asked, I'm sure, but you guys are asking it right now. And the true answer, but I'm not going to stick with this. I'm going to come up with a punchier answer in the future. The real answer is that because these characters are so close to my life, Rocky is very close as a character to me. Her family members are very close to my family members. I had this other thing I wanted to write, which is Rec. And I was planning to write it with a different family and different characters. But then I was like, how am I going to re-fictionalize these characters? Because I tried to make them a little more fictional in my first novel, We All Want Impossible Things, even though that's also me. I mean, that character Ash is me, and then Rocky's me in Sandwich. And then I thought, that's so stupid. Just let it be the same family.
Let it be.
Just don't fight it so hard. I just realized I was fighting this natural inclination I had to actually pick that story up. And so I just went ahead and wrote it that way, thinking I might need to change it, that I was thinking maybe my agent or my editor weren't going to be crazy about that, but it was fine with everybody.
Well, we all wanted to visit them again anyway.
Yes. Yeah,
so,
we weren't.
I mean, I think I finished Sandwich somehow innately knowing we'd get to see them again.
Really?
Right? Yes.
Oh.
I didn't feel like you left it in such a way. It wasn't a cliffhanger or anything, but they were alive and they were going to keep living their lives and we would get to see them again. So I'm glad that we did. And I don't think you need a punchier answer. I think
Thanks, Patti. Patti, are we
perfect.
going to see them again? I'm curious if you have a sense of that.
Oh, 100%.
Great.
There's more to happen. I mean,
okay, good.
I'm not going to say anything because it'll be a spoiler, but right? Like we're along for the ride with this family. It's like a really great Netflix series and we want to know what happens next. So Catherine, when is season 3? That's what I want to know.
I'm like writing this down and I'm making a note that's like, Patti wants to see the family again.
Patti needs season 3 of Rocky's family, which brings me to Rocky.
Yeah.
She is a complicated character who has such a unique and wacky and humorous and deep perspective on issues like aging and family and the world at large and gardens and swimming and accidents and money. I mean, she's just amazing. And in this sequel, she faces mortality and grief with so much wit and open-heartedness. And her view of life makes me want to be her next door neighbor and her friend. So you intuitively said that she is you, but let's talk about how she first showed up on the page for you.
I mean, honestly, I think she first showed up on the page as Ash in the novel before that.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. They're really, really similar characters. I'd be hard pressed to tease them apart. But Rocky as Rocky, I mean, I wanted to write a menopause book that I write by keeping pages and pages of notes about different things. This is the way I write. I have pages and pages of notes that are just really funny things my dad says in conversation. I have pages and pages of notes that are funny things my daughter says in conversation. Then I had pages of descriptions of Cape Cod. This was how Sandwich came to be. And I had pages of menopause symptoms that I myself was experiencing. And I basically was like, how do these things go together? Like, what's the thing that makes this be a book? And that was Sandwich. And that was, I guess, how Rocky emerged.
Okay. Yeah. And her kids, how do you feel? How many kids do you as Catherine, not as Rocky, have?
2 kids.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I wish I had written down all the wackadoodle things that my dad, who's 88, and my daughter and my granddaughters say to me, because they just slay me, and I need to be better about writing them down. You think you'll never forget.
Patti, it is
so
not
funny.
too late, because the thing is, everyone's still going to just, and you don't even need to write down any context, because it's even funnier when you just find some random thing that is like, I just found a note that I made that was in quotation marks. It says, what did the cave people do without Kleenex? And I know that's my dad. And I just I don't need any context for that. That's like such a my dad thing to say.
Oh my
God. And I was like, Dad, that is the least of their problems, I'm sure. But okay, you know.
Well, what about the clothes?
Or antibiotics? No, Kleenex was his.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. And I just want to say too, Catherine, that a lot of people said, you're not going to want to read that book, Sandwich. It's all about menopause. Blah, blah, blah. And I was so absorbed with it. The character was so vulnerable. I learned a ton, obviously, because I've not gone through any of that, but there's so much that I learned from it. So thank you.
I'm so glad. Thank you, Ron.
Of course. Anyway, so also congratulations on being the #1 Indie Next pick, a top 10 library reads pick, and the amazing Kirkus starred review for Rec, in which they said the book is a heartbreaking, laugh-provoking, and absolutely Efron-esque look at the beauty and fragility of everyday life. It's a spot-on assessment. How do you walk that tightrope between humor and heartbreak in your writing? Because it's heartbreaking, and then the next minute we are laughing our heads off.
Yeah.
I know, right? I guess that's life, isn't it? In so many ways, or maybe it's just my life, but I don't think so. I think it's a lot of our lives, that feeling of so many of the worst things have incredibly absurd elements attached to them. And I think you can lean into that or lean away from it. And I always lean into it, because then at least there's that. I mean, honestly, I just think the number of times that I am laughing at truly horrendous things. And I think this is how we do it. This is how we get through it. This is just not even an example of like a heartbreaking thing, although it kind of is. But that first big women's march in DC. So this was after the 2016 election. We took the kids and, we all had our pink pussy hats on, whatever. And our son basically spent all day in line at a food truck to get a chicken sandwich. And I just have pictures of him in this massive line to get a chicken sandwich at like the biggest political rally of anybody's lifetime. And that's our photo album from the Women's March, is like Ben waiting to buy his chicken sandwich. And the whole time I was like, this is so perfect. Like, this is just life, right? We are out here fighting for our lives. And also our kid really wants this chicken sandwich because he saw TikTok about it,
And he's dying to have it. And he's going to wait all day for it.
And he's just going to wait all day for it. And like, the march isn't we'll get to it. It's fine. We got time.
We have priorities. We have priorities.
Example. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So
Oh.
I want to talk about the food in your Substack. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Talk about the food in my Substack.
In your book and your Substack.
and your
Like,
book,
food
everything,
is-
all of it.
Yeah. You are such a good, like the way you describe what she's cooking, the spatchcocking of the turkey, which was freaking hilarious. And then you have some recipes in your Substack.
Yeah, I am a food person. I think about food like 80% of the time. I'm definitely like, I'm the person who wakes up and says to my husband, I think for dinner, like we still have that. And he's like, honey, please, like he hasn't even had his cereal or whatever. And I'm like planning tonight's dinner. I'm planning the weekend's meals. I am thinking about food. Yeah. So I like to think about it, and then I like to write about it because it's easy to write about. It's almost like it's like a little break in the writing, especially of intense things. Writing about food is like it's really easy. It's not that loaded. I feel like it's a break for me. It's probably a break for the reader. I also always think if someone's hating the book, they might like a description of like a grilled cheese sandwich, and that might just like carry them a few more pages, where they're like, God, I can't read it. And then it's like, oh, the stew.
Oh, look, we're making cranberry sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Two different kinds of cranberry sauce.
So like that. I don't know. I think about it. Also, it's just like, it is how Rocky takes care of her people. Yeah. It's her idiom for caretaking. It's definitely mine. I think the worst thing that can happen to me is someone in my life is suffering or sorrowful and they won't eat. You can't bring them something they'll eat. I volunteer at a hospice in town, and I make dinner every Monday night. And I am obsessed with it. Like the idea of making something, these are people's last meals on earth. They literally are. And making something that someone could eat a few bites of, like, it's so precious, truly. And then I worry all the time, of course, me being me, I'm like, oh my God, like you feed somebody something and you find out the next day that they died overnight and you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have. Yeah,
I shouldn't have put pepper in there.
I know. But anyway.
Catherine, but it's part of nourishing the people we love.
Yeah, nourishing the people we love.
It's also a process too. I think when I'm cooking, I get through things, and because I have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it kind of resettles my soul a little bit.
I love that too, because that is so true, that there's so much uncertainty, and then this is a known thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You open a can of chickpeas, you drain them, you put them in a pan and fry them till they're brown, put them on a salad and eat it. Boom, done. Story over. Yeah.
I'm hungry. Yeah. What the hell? All right, Catherine, you have written essays, fiction, memoir, books for children. And it is said by some, and by some, I mean me, that if we look closely, we can see common themes we approach in our work. In that book, I Am Lucy Barton, Elizabeth Strout writes, you will only have one story and you'll write that story in many ways. So do you, Catherine, think that's true? And if so, what is your one story?
Oh my God. That is so profound. I love that book too.
I know.
My one story is a love story to family. I mean, I think it just is. I think everything I have ever written is that. It's just a love story about my husband, about my kids, about my parents. And I am really lucky because everyone in my family knows it. Like, they do not mistake what I'm writing for anything other than what it is. Like,
Yeah.
people have asked my husband, like, if the Nick character in Sandwich offends him, or the way Rocky talks about him offends him. And he's like, it's like it's a love story. Like, the whole book's a love letter to me. Like, why would I be offended? And I'm so lucky to have these people who get that that's all I'm ever doing, is just in a million ways. I basically took on an entire career to find different ways to say I love you to these people. So,
wow.
All right. So that's it, y'all. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks. See you next week.
Catherine, that's beautiful.
It really is. I feel like we all need to have a Nick in our life.
Yeah.
I seriously, he's also enraging, just as an aside, but yes, he's the best.
Yeah. So Patti talked a little bit about all the different kinds of writing that you do, your Substack essays and all of this. How do you find time to do it all?
Well, I have been writing for money for the last 25 years. And so that's how we pay our bills. I have been our primary wage earner as a freelance writer, which means, among other things, and other freelance writers out there are going to be shaking their heads like, yeah, I hear this. I am so disciplined and deadline oriented, and I do not have writer's block. It's like, we're going to lose our house if I have writer's block. So I have learned to do a lot of different things, and I have different times of day that I do the different things, which again, all writers are going to be like, yep. Where in the morning for me, like when I'm really caffeinated, I do the actual writing.
Yes.
And then in the afternoon, I do like emails and podcast tapings and the stuff that doesn't require that really fast firing of neurons, Not that this doesn't, by the way, because it does, but there's something different. The caffeine has to be in the morning, and that's the writing.
No, when I first started writing, my kids were 5, 3, and newborn. And the only time I could write was in the early mornings.
Yes.
And that habit continued. And I always say that this time for this and afternoon for this.
Right?
It's a different, even talking to us, even though it's creative and your brain is fine, it's a different mindset than that kind of in-between world where you're trying to find the right place to go. Like by the afternoon, the best I could do is edit.
Same.
Write.
I'm the same. Edit or write like emails.
Yes. No. Anything creative or like in that in-between world?
Yes.
No way.
I love the in-between world. It's so true. It's very, and someone was just talking to me, another writer, about the sort of like dreaminess of writing, how there's something in common with like a dream state where your brain is coming up with stuff, but you're not necessarily in full control of it. And I think that's
when it's good.
I think it's good, that experience of being a little close to sleep, but wide awake. Like there's something very precious, and I protect it with my life. I really protect it, because once I do something else, or once I'm just like, if I'm sending an email at 8:30, that's it. Then I'm out of it.
Yep. And even when we schedule these recordings, I say, please give me till at least noon.
Same.
Right?
I'm the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So then if I lose that sacred time, it's over. Like I'll get it back the next day, but it's over for that day.
Totally. And I somewhat publicly have quit drinking, which is a crazy thing in my life, which I loved to drink. Like we could have a whole other conversation about me and drinking. Love the drink. Had to quit for various reasons, but now I'm really glad I quit. I'm over a year in.
Good.
But what it means, weirdly, is that I can actually do some of my non-creative work after dinner, which is so different from my drinking personality, where I'd be like, okay, as soon as it's 5:00, I'm done. Like
Because now I'm having a glass of wine.
I'm having a glass
Time
of
for a
wine.
cocktail.
Then I'm having another glass of wine, and then I'm done. Just that doneness. And now I'm actually stone cold sober the whole time. I could actually send you an email at 6:30 and not wake up the next day and be like, oh my God, what did I do?
It's a pretty nice feeling, isn't it, Catherine?
Yeah.
It's a pretty great feeling.
Really pretty good.
It's I'm telling you, I had to quit with menopause, which is my next subject, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So Sandwich was a book largely about, let's just say, the change in life or menopause and the pressures of parenting young adults while caring for aging parents. I'm exactly there. So like my kids are 27 to 30, and then my parents are 87 and 88, and there's all this clashing of me in between. So when you set out to talk about that, you said earlier you did mean to write about menopause. So you set out to explore this, right?
Yes.
This exact subject with these characters. Why do you think it resonated? Like it went wackadoodle bonkers.
It did.
Like, why do you think it resonated with all of us so much? Were we just waiting for this?
Oh, no. It is people writing to me to say same. I get a lot of
same.
And it is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because what else do you write for other than to connect? I feel so profoundly that when people write and say same, I'm just like same back. It's so good. So I really appreciate people saying they feel it. And then I guess I wonder if it's because Rocky holds so many contradictions that you don't have to pick a side. Like you don't.
Oh, yeah.
She's not.
She's not all of anything.
She's not just one thing. She's not like a super sweet wife and mother. She absolutely adores her family, but she's also kind of a shrew. She behaves abominably sometimes. She's really.
They annoy her. They
annoy her. She's moody. She has a billion crazy symptoms. She behaves unpredictably, to say it as nicely as possible. And so I think maybe because you don't have to pick like, oh, am I the person who became like a homicidal menopausal maniac, or am I the person who just is like still really sweet? Like, you could just
all of it.
You could just be the things. So maybe it's that. I'm not really sure, Patti. I'm like, that's by the seat of my pants. I don't know.
I think it's because we were waiting. We were waiting for a woman who was all those things at the same time. Not the wise crone who gave all the sage advice, and not the sweet young mother who adored her children and never yelled, but all of that like mashed up together in a transition that nobody prepares you for.
Right. And fully relatable too. I think everybody can see a little bit of themselves in different parts of Rocky's personality and her family. I think that's part of it for me. So character driven that it just really connected with.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a tricky question. What two characters from any of your work would you invite to dinner? What would you cook for them? And what would you all talk about?
That's a great question, because usually people ask, like, if you could invite any famous person in the world to dinner, who would it be? And I'm like, it would be nobody. I'm an introvert. Like, I have no interest in meeting any of my heroes. Like, none. I would just die of shame immediately and need to like go lie down. But character, and then the characters for my books are all like my family members. So I would really invite any of them and all of them, and that would be like my Thanksgiving table. I mean, I would invite the whole group of them. I would invite the dad and the late mom and the kids and the husband, and I'd invite the best friend from the first novel who is no longer with us.
I'd invite Willa's girlfriend.
And Willa's girlfriend, right? Let's see what she's all about.
Let's see what she's up to.
That's
really good.
That's season 3 right there. It's all about
There
Ruby.
you go.
It's all about Ruby.
There's this moment at the Thanksgiving, I'm not spoiling anything, but where the daughter-in-law says to Rocky, you might want to talk to your son. And I have a daughter-in-law, and I was like, oh,
how dare you?
Don't you? What?
I know. And Rocky hears herself answer like really coldly.
Yeah. She's like, I wish I hadn't answered like that.
I know. She hears herself be like, noted, whatever.
Quack. The boy I gave birth to? You mean that one?
Oh, yeah. Okay, tell me all about him.
Yeah, tell me more about him. Okay.
What don't I know?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Before we start to wind things down, you have been writing. I mean, this has been your whole career, and we mentioned all the different ways in which you write.
Right.
Do you have a favorite piece of writing advice you've ever received that you like to give?
Wow. I have a lot of them, and I say different ones at different times, but for some reason after this, do you say different ones at different times?
I'm like, oh no, that one. Oh no.
I don't know. Just when you said it, maybe I wonder if it has to do with this particular conversation, but I don't exactly do this, but I do it in spirit. I have a friend, Alexander Chi, and he's a fiction writer. He wrote the novel Edinburgh. He has also written a book called How to Write an Autobiographical Novel. I don't even think this advice is in that book, but it's advice. It's something he said to me that he does. And it's that every day when he sits down to write, he opens a new document so that he does not get caught up in endless House of Mirrors rounds of editing. And I don't do that, but I do it in spirit. I continue the document I'm on. I will read the paragraph that I ended with just to try to figure out what I'm doing, but I will not allow myself to reread to the present and edit because you lose so much time that way. I think writing truly takes a ton of momentum, and people talk about different processes where momentum is not part of it, where they write a little, they let it sit for a year, they pick it up. I cannot imagine writing that way. Momentum. I think you're moving forward. You're not circling the drain.
Yep.
You're not just marveling
editing.
You're not marveling at what you made yesterday. You are moving your story forward, and then there'll be time to go back into it. That's what I think.
I don't open a new document, but I often write in Scrivener. So it's a new piece of paper. Like I have to make a very deliberate effort to go back.
Into.
Yep.
It's so good. I tried to learn that program and I didn't quite have it in me, and I had too much to say to like stop and learn something. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. You have to do it in between books.
I know. I should do it now.
Play with it in between books. That's what I did. I did like a fake book on it.
That's brilliant.
And then I really like the way that works because it makes me. It's almost an effort to go back, get that document, pull it over. You know,
that's really good advice. I mean, that also, and doing it in Scrivener, I'm really interested. I'm like making a little note to try it again.
Oh, I just made a note about that book, writing an autobiographical novel.
Yes. Okay. Well, Patti, you still owe me a Scrivener lesson.
I know.
Did you lose a bet, Ron?
No. I promised
no.
to show him, and then we always end up doing something else.
Yeah, we're working on it. Anyway, Catherine, if you would stick around, we have more to talk to you about. But first, we have a few quick reminders for our listeners and viewers out there.
Okay. The obligatory announcements. You have to sit through them, Catherine. For all of you watching and listening, we want to encourage you right this very second to rush out and buy your copies of Wreck. And you don't even have to rush out. You can just do it right here on your computer, because one of the perfect places to do this is the Friends and Fiction shop on bookshop.org, where you will not only get the book at a discount, but all your purchases there support our show, our guest, Catherine, and more importantly, independent bookstores nationwide.
That's true. And don't forget to visit friendsandfiction.com for details on our show schedule, upcoming in-person events, and links to our merch store, our Substack newsletter sign-up, and the award-winning Friends and Fiction official book club with Brenda and Lisa. Mark your calendars for Monday, November 17th, when they will host Alicia Miranda at 7 p.m. to discuss her new novel, Someone's Gotta Give.
And I want to talk to you about our Substack and about Catherine's Substack. So all you have to do is go to substack.com and you can find Catherine's Substack. You can find our Friends and Fiction Substack, and you can read all of our free weekly posts on the website or app, and you can subscribe to get them for free directly in your inbox. And if you upgrade to the paid, which just costs $5 a month, I mean, that's like less than a cup of coffee a month, or at least the kind of coffee I get. And you'll have access to deeper dives with all our weekly show guests, like Catherine. Her Q&A is a hoot, and our rapid fire with her is amazing.
Yes.
Plus monthly roundtable discussions, like the 2 recent ones that Meg did on crime fiction and debut novels. We have bonus Q&As, like the one we just ran with Jack DeBrule, who took over Clive Cussler's novel universe. And if you enjoy tuning in for our weekly author interviews, this is a huge way to support us for about $1 a week. So check us out at friendsandfiction.substack.com. So I was going to ask you, Catherine, what you're working on, but I know you're not going to say, so I just want to say that I remain hopeful and would like the email of your editor and agent to see more of this beloved family. So I know you haven't started writing yet, but is there anything you want to tell us about what you're working on, or tell us a little bit more about your Crone Substack newsletter, because I think it's great.
I am taking a lot of notes about caretaking, I'm going to say vaguely. That's what I seem to be doing. I'm writing a ton of stuff down as I move through my day-to-day life right now.
Okay.
So we'll see where that lands me.
Yes,
And the truth is, I'll be glad to have the notes, whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Good.
We
It'll
will
be
too.
a part of something wonderful. We could start. I wish it was like a GoFundMe that we could start a type of thing, not to raise money, but to make sure that you write another chapter of the family's life.
I like the idea that it's like a moneyless GoFundMe that's just encouragement.
Yes.
It's like you could pledge like a lot of enthusiasm right now.
You could pledge your love and devotion to Rocky right here.
Yes.
A moneyless GoFundMe.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
good.
right.
Ron, you're really onto something.
I think let's do it. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to your Substack for just a quick second. In your Substack, you tell us, "Oh, my loves, I am gearing up for this and very excited and nervous because I love people and it's so much fun to travel. But also I'm an introvert and a homebody, and I am daunted by airports and the occasional hostile question, and by the possibility that an event will be attended only by the guy who broke my heart in college and my dad's drunk cousin Bumble. We want our people to show up for you. So tell us where you're going to be on tour and how they can connect with you online."
I'm going to be on tour all over the place, primarily in the Midwest and the Northeast, and a little bit like Bethesda, Baltimore. In this round, there will be other places. And you can find that on Instagram. You can find that on my Substack, and you can find it on my website, which is catherinenewmanwriter.com, I think, but I'm not sure. If you Google my name, you'll find it. And I would love for people to come, because that's a real fear that really did happen. My college boyfriend, my dad's drunk cousin Bumby. It was not pretty. And I am Yeah, so please come. I will just carry it all. You will have to do nothing while you're there. You just sit and relax and space out. So
Yes.
Smile and laugh
And
when
so-
it
smile,
laugh,
laugh.
and-
That's right. Put a little encouragement in the encouragement jar.
Yes. We actually, you'll be here with us in Cleveland as part of your tour.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll get to see you again.
I'm so glad. I know I'm
Yeah.
thrilled about that.
Yeah, it'll be great.
All right. We kept you longer than we said we
Oh,
would.
thank
So
you.
we're going to let you go. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for joining us. It was such a delight speaking with you. Thank you for
So
being
much
on the Friends
fun.
and Fiction show.
Thanks,
So
you guys.
much
I
fun.
loved it.
That we had a great time. Okay, we're dark during Halloween next week. We'll have some best of content to enjoy between trick-or-treaters, but be sure to tune in 2 weeks from today when the Fab Four will welcome David Baldacci live to discuss his new novel, our November 2025 pick of the month, Nash Falls. That show will air live on the Friends and Fiction Facebook page and YouTube channel on Wednesday, November 5th, and at 7 p.m. Eastern. Duh. And it will be published to our podcast for your listening pleasure on Friday, November 7th.
Thank you to all of you for being here with us, and we will see you next time.
Yes, indeed. Peace out.
Thank you for tuning in. You can join us every week on Facebook or YouTube, where our live show airs on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram. We're so glad you're here.